Hello everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making an album using Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Believe collection. I love this collection and this is going to go so well with the pictures that my family and I took last year. It was around the holidays and it's just perfect. And so to begin, I am just going to unstack all of the embellishments, try to get myself organized before I start this using stacking trays from scrapbook.com. And this just keeps me organized. I mean, it doesn't work 100%, but it helps me get started. And then I'm also using the Simple Vintage Believe kit, the collection kit, because I love the tags and the journaling tags and all the other things that come with it. It's just beautiful. And I'm unstacking the foam stickers, the chipboards, and I have the paper pad. This is just so pretty. I love the vintage feel of this collection. I am using the green, I think it's just the apple snap binder, and I like the green, and the red would work perfectly, but I just happen to have the green one, and I think it's going to work fine. It works out. There's a little bit of green that matches in the collection, and so we're going to just go with this. And then I'm going to cover the album with the 6x8 pattern paper. I like the layers of this paper. It looks really pretty. So I'm just going to use the adhesive sheet to mount that right on the album. And then I'm going to tie this ribbon on here. This is one of my favorite ribbons. I've used it quite often and I just love it. And so that is the cover. And then I'm going to add some rubber ones. The rubber ones are just beautiful. I'm going to cut out the presents and use that. And then I'm looking for a Christmas tree. I'm going to go ahead and layer the Christmas tree over the rubber one present. And then I really like the numbers, and I was going to use it for the cover, but it's a little big, and I think I'm going to use it for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rubber ones down using a bone folder, making sure that everything is down before I peel that off. And then I'm going to add the star. And then next I'm going to add some foam strips to the die cut to pop it up a little bit. And I'm making sure I get all the little pieces, including the little star, so nothing breaks. And I'm going to put that right there. And then I was going to use the number, and then I decided I'm not going to do that. I love this Christmas foam sticker. The font is beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and add that with some stars on here. And I am going to look for something else to do at the top there. I felt like it was kind of needing something. And the ornaments are just beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I'm using the ruler to add some lines to mimic strings hanging from the top of the album. Next, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the bookmark plate. And usually I like to use these little cut-apart sheets for that. They fit nicely in there. And so I'm going to go ahead and use the traditions. That way, when the album's on the shelf, I know this is a Christmas album and I can just pull it. And then I'm going to add some foam stickers. I think I'm just going to have just enough room for this one little holly. And I had to cut it down a little bit. And the reason why I want to use this is it kind of holds that paper in place so it doesn't slide. Alright, so that's done. And then if you just prefer to use a different pattern with some brads, you can do that as well. I do that occasionally as well, and it works out. And next I'm going to cut out the reindeer with the presents, and I'm going to add that to the back of the album. I like this little reindeer. He's cute. And then I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And then I'm also going to look for something else to add on there. I kind of want a sentiment, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it right there. Alright, and that's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some stars on there just to add dimension. And I think I'm going to just leave it the way it is. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go ahead and mount this 6x8 pattern print onto the insert page. I like using these pages, they're fun, and I just love this print. I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm going to add some foam stickers on here. And I'm actually going to rearrange these pages based on how I like my album to look. And then I'm going to add another 6x8 spread paper to the actual page here. That's another pretty pattern I like. And the Fa La 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 foam sticker is perfect for this. And so I'm just adding some foam stickers and some decorative brads. And that is it. And I hope you can see how simple it is. Just with the right embellishments and papers, you can have an album done in minutes. So, and actually this took me about 2 hours by the time I actually thought the process through and the design and all that, but it was super fun. So then I'm going to add this little fun notebook spread, and I figured you can write a letter to Santa on, if you were good or bad this year and what you wanted for Christmas. And then I'm making a bookmark using the insert page, and I just folded it in half, and I'm going to punch in the holes, and then I'm going to decorate that with embellishments. And so I'm just looking to see what I want to add on here, and it looks like I'm going to go with the foam stickers. They're really pretty. It's fun. And then I'm going to add I think I'm going to do the rub ones. I'm not really sure what I want to use yet. I think I'm just going to add this one just below the title. And I'm trying not to go too overboard with the embellishments here because I still have a whole album to make. And then I'm going to use some tags. I'm going to cut these tags, and I'm going to cut part of the tops off so that I can adhere them to each side of that bookmark. And it's just something fun I like to do. Okay, I'm going to cut this out, punch a hole in there, the same, and then I'm going to cut this down just a little bit, and then I'm just going to mount that down here, and then the same for the other one on the other side. Alright, and then I'm going to add some string. Super, super simple, but I do like the way it looks, and it's just fun. Okay, and then I'm going to snip those ends, and then I do like to do the back. I'm not going to go overboard with it. I'm just looking for something to do. I'm not really sure I like this, but it's not going to work. It's like the words are too big. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and use the Joy, and I'm going to add the florals in the back, the rub ones. I think that'll look nice. And then I'm going to pop up the Joy with foam squares or foam strips. But right now I'm just trying to see what I want to put. I want to play with the word joy and do something, but for now I'm going to go ahead and pop it on here, and I'm still going to figure out what I want to do here. I'm cutting out the rub ones. I'm going to layer those. You can layer rub ones one after another, it doesn't matter. It looks really nice. And then I'm just trying to see what to do. I'm going to tuck that holly down here, and the reindeer is cute, so he works out great. And that's it. I'm popping him in there. And then I do like to alter the chipboard pages using rub ones and also foam stickers. So I'm going to go ahead and add the Santa. Okay. And then I'm just going to move along, and I'm going to decorate each chipboard page. And I'm going to actually come back later and probably add more embellishments to the page, or brads, but this is just to get the album started, because I always have a hard time getting this started. So once I get in my groove, then I can go back and add some things. That snowman is so cute. Alright, and then I'm going to use the bell, I think. Not sure yet. I like the bell, but then I like the Christmas tree, and so I decided I'm going to go ahead and use the Christmas tree instead. It's super pretty. And then I'm going to layer the wrapping presents here, and keeping the stars there as well. And then I'm trying to see what to do. I was going to add the chipboard sentiment, but I didn't really like how that looked. And so I think I'm going to just go ahead and use a rubber one. And that's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to add the foam stickers here with the chipboard and decorate the badge to this page. Alright, and then I love the Marion Bright foam sticker, and then I'm just adding stickers and badge to the back of that. Okay, and now I'm looking for something else. I'm going to put the stickers, the little tabs on each page, the front and the back, and I'm trying to make sure the colors match the rubber ones. Okay, and for the most part they all match for that page. Alright, now I'm looking for another thing to do with this one. I'm going to layer these stickers up. I like this, it's so pretty. And so I'm just looking to moving things around to see what I want to do here. And that's it. I just love how this is coming along. It's such a beautiful collection. Alright, and then I'm moving my pages around a little bit, because I generally like to have a few pocket pages and a 6x8 layout for each divider section. And I am going to be adding pages to this, but this is just to show you how I set the album up. And later you'll see the full album on my Instagram once it goes live. And this Believe chipboard piece is beautiful. I just love the font. So I'm going to stick that on the back there. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want to do to decorate the back page. And I love the ornaments. And my thought process was, the cover has ornaments. So why not try and make the back, similar. So I'm going to go ahead and just put these down. And I'm going to glue them down just so they don't fall off over time. And they are adhesive back, so you don't have to do it, but it's just my preference, just to make sure nothing falls off. And then I'm going to use a ruler and a pen to create my lines. Okay, so that they're hanging from the top of the album. And then I'm looking for stickers to add on there, just to add some layers and some stars. And that looks really pretty. Okay, and I think that's it for the actual album. Now I'm going to make some flip pieces, which is always fun. But I'm going to cut out some journaling cards first that I want to use. And then I'm going to cut out the 3x4 cards. I want 4 of them so that they're connected. And then I'm going to fold in the far left and the far right side to create the flip. And then I'm just going to mount that right on the sleeve. And then I'll come back later and add a photo inside there. And then I'm looking for something to add to the journaling card. There's a little label there. I'm going to add this rubber one here. And that looks so good. And I'm going to pop that in there. And then for the present, I feel like I need to add something there. I'm going to add the holly and trim the excess off. And then I'm actually going to add some stars just for fun. And then the Mary. Alright, and then I am actually moving on. I'm going to add a little bit of star rubber ones here. Add some stars. And then I'm looking to see what else to add, but I'm going to just leave it alone. Alright, and then I'm going to add the foam star here and the ornament to the joy. That's super cute. I like that idea. And then I'm going to add the brad to the center of the flower. And then I like the snowman. He's fun, so I just added him on there. And I'm just playing with the embellishments. I just like to add things that work. It's just fun. Just move things around until you're happy with it. And then I'm going to use the tag and add that to the side here. And then I'm going to cut some string and add that on here. And then I need to look for something to put on the tag. I'm really not sure what I want to do with that yet. I'm going to add the decorated brad. And then I'm just moving things around. I kind of like this, so I'm going to use the chipboard there. And then I need something else on here. It feels like it's too plain. So I'm going to go through and look for the hollies that I have, and I'm going to use some of those. Those are really pretty, and I think that works. And then I'm cutting the excess off here, and then I'm going to add another one on the bottom, just to kind of round it out a little bit. Cut that, and that's it. I'm going to leave it alone. Move it along. Okay, and then I'm going to cut out some more cards that I want to use for another pocket page. These cards are so pretty. I love it so much. So, they are gorgeous. I like this 25 tag with the holly, and I'm going to go ahead and use that on here. Put that right there, and then add some string. Alright, and then I'm going to cut that down. And then I've been wanting to use that number, and I thought it would be fine, and I would layer it on the 25, but the back will show. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to use it eventually. And now I'm going to cut the journaling cards out. And I am cutting, I'm not really sure, I'm just going to cut them out. I was going to do a flip, but then I decided I'm not going to do a flip page. And then I'm going to add some foam stickers here. I love this little card. It's cute. And pop that in there. And then the snowman, those are cute. I'm going to add that in here. And I'm actually going to use this to mat another, well, I think I'm going to just use that to mat a photo, but then I'm going to cut it down and just add it here. Alright, and this is fun. I like the black and white. It looks striking, I think. And then I'm going to add the foam stickers, and that's done. And then I'll add a photo at the top of that, but I am just setting it up. And then I'm trying to look at something else. I love this Santa page, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it simple, and I'm going to add some foam. I'm going to use this to line up. I'm just using it to line up the ho 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 so it's straight. And then I'm going to add some stickers. I was going to use the die cuts, but it's not working out. So I'm just looking and moving things around. And I think, let's see, I'm just moving it around to see. I'm going to add some stars, and then I feel like I need another sticker under there, so I'm going to use the chipboard piece and put that right there, and that works out. Okay, and then I'm going to add the holly at the top corner to kind of pull it together. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut some more 3x4 tags out. Let's see, these are so cute. And I'm going to cut the journaling cards out and some tags so that I can mount them on there. And they just create fun layers. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down on the back of this one. And then I'm going to add the other tag on here. And then I think after I add the string, I am going to use the 25. The number 25 that I've been trying to use and haven't been able to use it yet. So I think this is going to look good. I'm going to add that with foam stickers or foam squares or strips, whatever you have. It's all the same. And then I'm going to pop that on the tag. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to add this decorated brad to the center of the snowman's belly. And then I like this print, this card. I'm going to add another rubber ornament just to create some layers, and I just like that. It's pretty. Alright, and that's it. I'm going to add that on here. And there we go. And then I'm going to add another mat in there so that when I go back to put pictures in there, I will put it right in there. Okay, and then I'm going to add that in here because I'm going to end up coming back and adding a picture there. And I'm going to add this 4x6 card up the top. And this one I'm going to use as well. Pop that in there. Super simple. And then I like the Santa card. I'm going to pop him in there. And then the tree. I just love the tree. It's just so fun. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add a tag to the back of this. That way when I flip that page over, this is going to show. And it saves me the work because I already know that I'm going to do something with that page on the back. Okay, and then I'm going to add the brad and tuck that in there. And I'm going to flip that over. And now I'm trying to figure out what else I want to do. I like this card, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make a flip page with it, a partial flip. So I'm going to cut this out 4x6 so that it acts as a mat, and then I'm going to fold this in half using a bone folder, and then I'm going to mount it right behind that card to create the flip. Okay? And then I'll come back and add some photos on there. And then I'm going to add the Believe bubble in here to fill in that space on the label. And I was going to add some ornaments, but I'm just going to leave it alone. And then the reindeer is really cute. I'm going to cut this down a little bit so that it fits right in that flip part at the top. Alright, and that will fit nicely in there. And pop that right there. Okay, and then I am going to add another mat back there, and then when I add my photos, they will go in there as a frame. And then I'm going to add another one up there, here. Okay, and then I'm flipping through, and I think this is it. So this is what I've done so far. This is just how I set up the album. And now I'm going to go back in there later and add my photos, and then I might touch up each page with the embellishments as well. Thanks so much for visiting, and I appreciate you watching. Take care.